Okay, huge welcome to Scale with Evergreen Marketing Masterclass. I'm your host, Sabine Matharu, and I'm going to share with you an action-packed masterclass today, a training that will help you grow your business in the next 90 days. Good morning to you as well, Deanne from Austell. Okay, cool. I'm based in the UK. And I'll do a bit of introduction in a moment as well. But first and foremost, I just want to share with you obviously what we're going to be doing. And if this is for you, obviously, if this is your secret desire and you are here because you would love to have a system that brings you leads on autopilot. I know it's a bit of a cliche and I don't want to sell it in that way in terms of, yeah, we'll automate everything in your business, but I want to share with you the steps that you can take to help that, okay? And I mean, I was always dreaming of running a business that does a lot of the heavy lifting for me because I was always reinventing the wheel over and over again. And it just felt really, really exhausting. Let me know if you feel sort of sometimes the same way when you're kind of like, you wake up in the morning and you think, oh my gosh, what am I doing today in my business? How am I going to get my next client? And really, I'm the person who's very sort of visual and I love to create visions. And I used to work in corporate. Actually, it was my job to actually problem solve and put proper systems and processes in place so things would run smoothly. Actually, I was working at chocolate factory, so that was, make sure that all the chocolate comes off smoothly and without any quality issues. So yeah, oh, USA is 6 o'clock in the morning, Karen. Well, very welcome. I'm so happy that you decided to join me today. Yeah, you got daughters. Yeah, I got kids as well, so I know exactly what you're going through in terms of, getting them ready for work and so on. Okay, morning from London as well, Anna. Good to see you as well. Good. So, yeah, so you know what to expect. I mean, this is it was me. I was doing a lot of, and I still love live launching. I mean, I'm live here today. I just love teaching and being live with you. I was a teacher in the classroom as well, so I just love doing all that. But sometimes I just like to have things sort of ready when people ask me for certain things. Then you can just send them something and it's just done for you. Like, for example, it was just holiday season, so I just had my webinar running in the background on an autopilot, and it still got me leads and clients. So that's sometimes really, really nice to have. um, and obviously, the next item here I have is the scalability. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what is a scalable business system and what isn't. And also, it's important to have something that works for you consistent so that you can have a peace of mind that you know where your next client's coming from as well. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the scalability a little bit later on in terms of how, what sort of models there are available so you can scale. And maybe if you're giving up one-to-one time at the moment, let me know if you're doing lots of one-to-ones. Again, it's lovely. I love one-to-ones as well, but at some point, there may be something else that you might want to consider and see how you can actually get more clients in and still give them a fantastic service and that transformation. And then the next point here is obviously no more reinventing yourself. So that's something I desire for you as well, that you just have something that just works. And when you're showing up on social media and when you are posting or when you are having a conversation, that you are having an authentic conversation and, something that really translates your message. So often I've been working with clients that didn't realize that obviously it's a lot of those spiritual entrepreneurs and healers and coaches, consultants. Sometimes it's really hard to express what you do in words. And sometimes we need to show something. Like, imagine an e-commerce store. It's quite easy. My husband's running an e-commerce store and he goes, well, it's easy for me to sell my products because people know they're going to get this t-shirt or this water bottle. Whereas what you're selling, Sabina, that's a little bit more like, don't know what people are getting. So I'm going to share with you a little bit how we can create something that's a bit more visual and a bit more visible. And for that reason, I'm going to share with you my 9 pillars that I teach, because we want to make sure that people walk away with something that's a bit more tangible and they understand what they, what the journey is going to be like, how are you going to take them through the journey, and that you are the right person to take them through this journey, right? because there's so many coaches out there that there's a sea of coaches, and the question is, how do we really stand out? And I tell you what, we're standing out through just being who we are, authentic, and not comparing ourselves to others. Okay, that's one of the things. And of course, the last item here is I want to share with you also a daily sort of flow, a structure that you can implement for yourself to just really move the needle. Because I said, sometimes we wake up, we don't know exactly what you should be doing. So again, I'm going to share with you some of those tips as well. So I hope this sounds good to you, and you're going to stick with me for the next hour or so. Let me just go on to the agenda points. So the three main things I'm going to share with you definitely is 5 mistakes female entrepreneurs make when it comes to building and scaling their business to 6 figures. And these are definitely the 5 mistakes that I have made. And maybe you're gonna, you're gonna say, oh, actually, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. So it'll be quite interesting conversation. Okay, cool. Sounds excellent. Thank you, Jenna. Good to see you. And then how to pull complete strangers into hot leads in seconds with a perpetual lead gen machine. Well, that sounds like a mouthful. Let me explain. So how often do you go on social media and, we don't want to be spammy. We start conversations and then it's like we then talk about holidays and we never really get to kind of sell, or some people sell to you right away and it's like too spammy. So it's really kind of finding the balance and leading with value. I think that's really, really important. And hence, you can use things like this, like webinars, to really provide value and have those quality conversations. That's really what that is. And then I'm going to show you the 6 powerful pillars of an evergreen system. You will hear me talk about evergreen all the time because I just love this notion of evergreen, because I really don't like to reinvent myself over and over again. I've done this so many times. I've had about 80 different pages and sort of sales funnels last year. I deleted them all. So I'm going to talk to you about that, what I did. But literally, I was so confused. And if I'm confused in my business, how do you think clients will be feeling? Like there's too many things that you're offering, and and you just sort of spread yourself so thin and you just feel like huge overwhelm, right? So I want to share with you this evergreen notion. I'm going to talk about this evergreen a bit more and explain what that actually means. So it'll come into the session quite a lot today. Okay, so just bear with me and I will make sure I'll explain it. And just to let you know, this, what I'm talking about, hasn't just worked for me, because that would be insane if I just give you my blueprint and cookie cutter. Actually, I made sure this method and this evergreen notion actually has been proven to work in many, many industries. And as I kind of already alluded, I've been working with over 10 years now, actually 12 years, and I've helped almost 1,000 female entrepreneurs, and they range through mainly consultants, coaches, but also therapists, healers. I love relationship coaches, parenting. So you see there's a range of different women that I've helped, and it does work. So as long as you've got service-based business and you're not e-commerce, that really works for you. Okay, like for example, here is Helena. She is a career and leadership coach, and what happened was that she was charging a lot of sort of one-to-one low fees, and then she just helped her clarify her offer and became sort of evergreen, and also created a scalable model with her so that she could actually take on bigger, larger corporate clients in this instance. So she had made 15K in that month, for example. Okay, so as I kind of said, well, maybe your attention is sort of pulled into many different directions. There are many different advices, many different coaches telling you many different things. Now, I am of the opinion that every single system needs to have a couple of foundational pieces in place. And sometimes we just go for the shiny objects and we want that next best TikTok lead gen strategy or whatever it is. Sorry, that's not what I'm teaching, actually. I'm really sorry. I don't, you know, that's one way, obviously, and it's something that will work, of course. But what I'm talking about is more a fundamental system that can be worked every single week, and you don't have to reinvent it over and over again. It's this kind of one direction where we still aligned with who we are, obviously, and there's no such thing as sort of strict cookie cutter, but it has a clear a pathway, and you know exactly what you're doing, and it just saves you time, it saves you energy, it saves you being super overwhelmed and not knowing, should I be putting that offer out, or should I create another freebie, should I go on Facebook, should I go on LinkedIn, should I be on TikTok, should I be everywhere at the same time? So who feels like you, now let me know, give me a one in the chat if you feel like, yeah, there's so many things I think I should be doing, but I don't really know what is really aligned or what will work best for me. So let me know if you feel like that. Yeah, there's a couple of ones. Excellent. And I felt the same. And I'm still battling because, we are getting hit by so much information. There's so many different platforms and so many different coaches out there, and there's so much. So this, what I try to do is really distill the information and distill what is really important. What are the six pillars? And that's why I came up with the six pillars. What are the most important things? And how can we remove ourselves from the panic and from the overwhelm and the stress and thinking we have to do everything? And then obviously we're looking at other people online and we realize, oh, they're getting all these likes and all these sales, and they're doing six figures, seven figures, and we're like, we should be there already. And it's like, oh my God, right? So really, let's take a breather and think, actually, you know what? We're on our own journey. I think that's really important, that we remember that we are all our own personality. We go our own pace. Some of us are mothers, and obviously we have other duties as well, and we don't want to neglect those duties. Maybe some of us still have a day job and we can only do the business on the side. Let's recognize that, right? And let's just step into the power and say, you know what? It's fine. It's exactly fine where I am right now. And I think it is great to gain a bit of clarity. And hopefully today I can really instill that in you. And you can say, oh, actually, tick in the box. I have this, I have that. So literally we'll do a bit of an audit on the six pillars towards the end today. Okay. Um, yeah, I'm just going to skip this because I think we kind of talked about it. Obviously, it is about predictable way, and we want to get, perhaps we think about higher paying clients. I want to talk to you about one-to-ones and also other smaller group prices and things like this, and how that works out for you financially. We talk about that as well, obviously. And we want to work with people who we really love working with, right? That's really important, that we attract the right people, that we can charge what we're worth, that we have this great impact on the clients. We see the results, because that's the most important thing. Quite often people forget that. They talk about lead generation, but they don't really talk about the delivery and making sure that you get transformation for clients. That's something I talk a lot, because I'm also always sort of embarking on coaching and getting my own coaching certification up to speed. I'm always working with new tools and also teaching the tools to clients as well, so that they can get the best out of a client. Because, for example, sometimes our own clients might procrastinate, our own clients might, need that accountability, and heaven forbid they're going to come back and blame you for not making progress, or they want refunds and things like that. We can avoid that, and that's part and parcel of what I teach and what I talk about. One of the six pillars is your delivery, right? And we want to enjoy our businesses. We want to enjoy and have fun every day. Otherwise, let's face it, let's just go back to a 9-to-5 job, right? So this works for you. As I said, you've got online training programs, courses, if you've got group programs, or maybe you want to start a group program, maybe you already have one-to-one and you feel like you want to shift. Absolutely. So there's things that we can talk about later on as well. Done for you services, agencies, any industry. And it's really about turning strangers into clients in less than 48 hours. And I'm going to share with you that particular part of the ecosystem. And we don't want to be endlessly on social media. I already said that. It's not my bag myself. Having to spam people via DMs, or having to give away stuff for free all the time, or needing to be tech gurus and building complex sales funnels. And we don't even need any previous results. Okay, what we may need is we may have some free coaching we've done, or some our own challenges we've overcome as well. So if you're just starting, don't worry, that's for you as well. So this is for you if you're starting and you're kind of fresh and you haven't built the messaging. And then it's for you as well if you're kind of somewhere stuck and you think, actually, somewhere down the line, I have a bottleneck. I can't cater for enough people. I've got people coming in, and I do lots of one-to-ones, or you maybe already have a group program, but again, there's something not quite working. You can't fill it. So it's for you at many different stages, because the six foundational pillars that I'm going to share with you, will apply to any business, and you can actually go through and audit where you're at. Okay. So take notes, and we'll go through this very, very quickly. Just a bit about me. That's a couple of years ago. That was actually taken through the pandemic. I always have a smile on my face when this picture comes up, because my kids are so small there, and now my son is definitely taller than me now. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just a loving mom. I've also had quite a career. This is where I got started. I decided to quit 9 to 5 when my second child was born. And my sort of early days when I created this workbook, I was absolutely thrilled. My first workbook on Canva. And that's how I got started with challenges. And that's, gosh, yeah, that's about 10 years ago. Yep. And then things didn't always work for me. I tell you, these are the success, the shiny sort of pictures. Obviously, I had some dark times as well. But obviously, yeah, I I worked my way through. I really hated tech and funnels and stuff like this. I really did, because all I wanted to do is show up and teach. That's what I love doing, and that's what I did over here. I've actually secured a couple of bigger group sort of coaching contracts. I wrote a couple of books, and I was on radio there, and I was invited to do larger talks with larger organizations and things like that. Really, and yeah, I just really, really enjoy inspiring others and just showing up. So yeah, I've been through a lot of different things. I've also got my own podcast. I've done online TV. So I've done a lot of sort of visibility, organic visibility, and also paid ads. So I know a lot about all of these different things, and yeah, and now I can see what's working, what's not working. So, but what I really want to do is I really wanted to be able to eliminate the repetitive work and the stress and overwhelm. And that's why I said I deleted a lot of my sales funnels, and some of the offers that I had, I don't have it anymore, because I really wanted to simplify and scale what I'm doing, and still have the time with my family and do all the things that we love doing, especially traveling. I just got back from Spain last week, which was an amazing bit of sunshine and good food. So I just love all these things. And I think all of us is somewhere deep down inside of us may have started a business because we also like to have a bit of lifestyle and spend their time with our loved ones, and not having to slave away in the 9 to 5 perhaps. I mean, give me a one in the chat if you think, yeah, actually I started my business because I wanted something different, and maybe you wanted to impact more people. Maybe, yeah, that's one of the things I realized. I was doing fantastic work. I had a very senior position, and I loved my job, but I just felt like I was just a wheel in a sort of a bigger organization. And I was always a troubleshooter. I was already always the coach, and I loved the aspect of troubleshooting. And I thought, well, actually, I could do this for myself and just be more flexible. Yeah, there's a couple of ones as well. Yeah, and obviously taking care of elders and people around you. That's the other thing, right? This is the beauty that when we, and this I'm getting goosebumps now, because I'm so passionate about helping women to actually be able to really truthfully, it's not just all about business. Yes, it's also about making the impact and creating the ripple effect. But as you was just saying, say in the chat, Karen, it's about taking care of others. You will probably not be able to do that if you're working in a 9 to 5 job, and if you're busy and you just don't have the capacity to look after others. And, whoever we're looking after, I think it's really about nourishing ourselves with what we're creating here, our business, and make sure it is fun, make sure it's not too serious. For so many years, it's been so serious for me because I've always kind of been in this serious mode and had a mask in the corporate environment. And I'm still catching myself. Sometimes I'm too serious, serious, and I'm thinking, do you know what? Don't be. Just show up. I said to myself, I'm just showing up every Wednesday. and I'm just doing this presentation because I know I want to share what I know, and I want to help other people. I want to know, I want to tell them about me, and share with them what I do, and I show up regardless. It doesn't matter how many people are there. So I think that's one of the things we might want to remember when we are going through this journey, because not everything is smooth plain sailing. Absolutely not. Okay, anyway, enough about me. This is too much of an intro. I really want to get into the detail. Okay, so obviously I want to show you the easy way, which is the evergreen way, and I want to talk a bit more about this evergreen notion. As I said, something you can reutilize over and over again. You don't have to reinvent, like I'm not reinventing this webinar every single week. I have slight variations and different things that I'm doing, but then it's just sort of standard. Obviously I can optimize now, because you guys might tell me afterwards, someone send an email out and say, hey, how did you find this webinar? Where could I improve? Then obviously you might say, hey, cut down on your introduction, and I'll make sure I delete some of these slides and just talk less in the beginning, right? So we can actually optimize when we're running Evergreen. So I'm going to skip this. This is for you, obviously, if you're an expert coach, you're entrepreneurial minded, I'm sure you are, and you want your knowledge should be monetized. You've done some stuff, hasn't worked, and you want a consistent strategy, okay? It's not for you, as already said, e-commerce, apps. It's not kind of my arena. I would actually send you to somebody else. But you've got big goals, you want to grow, and you know that investing time and money is needed to actually grow a business, and you're not afraid to do so. So if you're not that, and like, okay, I need a sort of quick kind of money, make money online kind of something, then maybe this is not really for you. Okay, so we're going to go through the first part now, the 5 biggest mistakes. So mistake number 1 is that people don't have a scalable business model. So they come to me, they have like one-to-ones, or they have very low ticket items. And that's great in the beginning. Obviously, I would never recommend you start, selling some sort of big group masterminds, or create elaborate digital programs and pre-record them. It takes a lot of time and energy. So you start with one-to-one, but then it's like, okay, what's next? So the question is, how can you then expand from there? And how can you, especially when you're busy and when you're doing other things as well, and you want to work 10 hours a day, how can you leverage your time and still increase your income? So that's the question. I give you an example here. So we've got 2 scenarios. Scenario 1 is, say you offer, say you want to make 10K a month, 10,000 pounds, dollars, yep, whatever it may be. Say scenario 1, you've got a one-to-one ticket offer. And quite often, I'm taking this as an example, I have amazing spiritual entrepreneurs, healers, mindset coaches, life coaches. They come to me and they say, yeah, I charge £100, $100 a session, and I charge by session, or 5 sessions at a go, or that kind of thing, right? So for example, month 1, you make 5 sales at 100, that would be 500. Month 2, you then go out, find another 5 sales, and it's another 5. So you keep on sort of just finding the 5, or sell a package, and it can be quite tedious, and it's quite hard to actually ever reach 10K a month. And scenario 2, this is what I would call a scalable offer. Even if it was still £100 or dollars a month, and say it was a mastermind or membership, or it could be nowadays people have like email memberships or Voxer support. It could still even include one-to-one as a hybrid. But if you say created a group and you charged each of them 100, and it just stay for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, now you're compounding your sales. Now you're talking 5 people coming in month 1, another 5 in month 2, another 5 in month 3. So we've got 5, 10, 15 people. So now we're building, and we're not starting from scratch all over again. So that's just my little take. And obviously there are different models as well. We can talk about high ticket and all that kind of thing. So this is one of the models that you could think about. Okay, how could I do this so I don't have to find 5 people over and over again? Okay, so that's what first consideration. The second consideration is obviously complex systems and funnels, which you absolutely don't need. Actually, the easier the better, honestly, nowadays. And even if it's not entirely like all shiny and all done, then you really don't need it. Really don't need it. I thought I needed a super duper brand and a website before I could ever start my business. And then once I had the brand and the website, I was still in the same place because I wasn't visible. I wasn't sharing. I was just sort of procrastinating, hold myself back because I thought I needed all of these systems. Nowadays, you could just have a PayPal link. You could just post something on social media or have a Google document, which I have, right, that lists, these are my services. Here's the payment link, and let's hop on a call kind of thing, right? It can be really, really simple. Then mistake number 3 is creating lots of different programs. Again, this is something I did because, yeah, I need to cater for this group of people. And then how about a smaller one here and a bigger one there? And I just got myself into a real muddle because all of a sudden I had a couple of people in this program, a few people in that program. And it was just so I was kind of like just really here, there, and everywhere. And what I did is I combined all my best bits and just created one umbrella program. I still have a couple of different levels, but I'm talking about the same things, and I pulled the all my resources into one place, which are really neatly accessible now. And it's just, in my mind, so much better. And the transformation of my clients are so much better as well because they get so much more support. So really think about how many programs are you running right now? Are you, do you have lots of, how many programs do you have? Let me know in the chat, how many programs. Give me a number, and then I get a feel for where you're at. Because sometimes when you have more than 3 programs, you might want to do a bit of a prioritization and see, okay, how much fun do I have when I run this program? How much income is it going to provide? How easy is it to deliver? So you have different criteria when it comes to perhaps simplifying. And then mistake number 4, lots of trial and error. This is what's happening, right? A lot of time wasted because we don't really know what we should be doing, could be doing, and then there's shiny objects and we try this, we try that. So yeah, this is where I want to share with you the 5 pillars so that you have a very clear pathway today. And a lot of women actually do say, this is where the trial and error come in, I can do this on my own, right? How many times have you said that to yourself? And oh yeah, you don't have a single program, so that's the problem. Yeah, so you start with creating a program, and you want to think about, okay, what lights me up? Who can I help? What struggles have I gone through? So there's a few different questions you might want to ask yourself in terms of how would I want to work in my business if I could just create anything. Like, how many hours do I want to work, right? That's how you create blue sky thinking and really think, right, this is my lifestyle. I want to work around my kids or my loved ones, and these are the hours I want to work, and then create your program around that, right? So beautiful. If you don't have a program, then the world is still your oyster. You don't have to tweak or change things around. You can just create what you want from scratch. So yeah, back to the I can do this on my own and the trial and error bit. This is what I said many times. I would watch a masterclass. Yep, I'll go and do this my own, and I implement on my own, and then, why are things not working? It's like, oh, it doesn't quite work. And the thing is, I found it best when someone actually works with me alongside, looks over my shoulder and like, okay, this it doesn't sound like you. Are you just taking someone else's thing? And then, it just doesn't work. So what I found, when I did get support, my business has really accelerated. I have been able to obviously save a lot of time and avoid any sort of mistakes, as well, that I knew I should have not made. You can avoid obviously overwhelm because there's a lots of different steps, and oops, where have I gone now? 2 slides too far. yeah, you can avoid a lot of costly mistakes, obviously, and you can also get results faster. That's what I saw, because obviously you can watch a lot of videos, you can go to master classes, you can read books, but really the information is out there. But what we are all providing as coaches, consultants, course creators, healers, therapists, really is a transformation. So all the information can be out there, but the transformation bit, that's the thing. That's when we need to sit with someone and get that support and get that implementation right. That's the important bit. Okay, okay, you missed this. So yeah, I think I kind of confused myself as well because I went 2 slides too far. Um, I don't know what you've missed, but I mean, I was just saying that basically, yeah, it's the doing yourself kind of thing is like false economy, because the mistake that I was talking about is the trial and error. That's what that relates to. Last mistake is the dabbler mentality. This is the question, can I come back later? Like, I'm not ready kind of conversation. Yes, life gets obviously busy and the timing can always feel tricky. But obviously there's never really the right time, isn't it? And the right time is always like yesterday. You know, whenever we start, we're on the journey, we're going to be committed. So it's really to start trusting ourselves. What will happen if I don't do this right now? What will happen if I come back later? Will I come back later and really do it? Um, so creating momentum in your business is what really matters. And that means you don't want to delay, procrastinate, uh, not make the decisions. Really sit with yourself and really think, what is it that you want and by when? And coming back later or not doing anything right now, is it going to be helpful? I think that's the question. So this is more mindset stuff. This is one of the mistakes that I have made and that a lot of my clients have made. Actually, one client said to me, "Can I come back later? Because I like your program. Would like your support." I said, "Yeah, well, sure." And I'm not the person who's gonna force her into a sale or anything like that. But I guess as a good coach, I could have said, "Okay, well, what will change in your life if you came back later?" Well, to cut a long story short, she went and worked with another coach, and 2 years later, she came back to me because it didn't work out, and I don't know. And yeah, we did work together, and she's, oh, this is like a breath of fresh air. I know I should have taken this decision 2 years ago. So sometimes, yeah, we can just sort of go in a loop and not really make the decisions that we know we should be making right now. And so, yeah, it's just something to ponder on when it comes to planning out your next 90 days in business growth. Okay, so these are the 5 mistakes. Now, let's go into the 6 pillars, because that's the nitty gritty now as to how do you build this? How do you build this evergreen system? So, I was talking about this evergreen notion. Okay, I want to explain what that is. So, ask yourself, how often do you recreate content? How often do you create launch campaigns? Obviously, if you're just starting, don't worry, this is just a rhetorical question. But normally, you can do this quite often. You can recreate quite often because things aren't working, you're swapping, changing. Maybe you are creating new presentations, new Canva templates, right? New offers, sales pages. And the question is, do you have an onboarding process? Because again, nobody really talks about this. Once people actually come into a program, what do you do with them, right? So, well, if you reinvent yourself over and over again and wasting lots of time and effort, not seeing the results, then this evergreen notion, these pillars will really, really help you think through like getting away from all of these things. So let's go through the pillars. Pillar number 1 are the strong foundations. I know everybody talks about foundations and it's the most boring thing. And everyone comes to me, I already got my foundations, I already got my messaging, I already know all this. I'm like, okay, let's sit down again. It's like, oh, okay, oh, I got a gap here. Oh, I'm not quite sure about this. And yeah, that's not aligned anymore. So sometimes we do need to go back to do the foundations, which are our financial goals, which are our lifestyle goals, and how do they match up? And so the question for those that don't have a program yet, it's like, okay, what are my financial goals and what are my lifestyle goals? So how do I then create my program so that I can actually match both of them? Yeah. So So I don't have to work 10, 12, 15-hour days and 8 days a week. And I know I was only 7, but sometimes we wish we had 8 days, right? And we're so overwhelmed. So this is a great thing. When we set out our foundations, we can plan around it. And sometimes I would say every 90 days you want to do that work. You just want to go back and have a look. Is my target audience still the same? Or have I shifted? Or what are they thinking now? What are their problems now? Am I talking to the right people in the right way, in the right depth? So these are all the questions you might want to ask yourself when it comes to the foundations. And then obviously, based on all that, we can create our offer matrix. So that means our different offers, and the pricing around it, and see, where are the different stages. Some people, they like, I have a high ticket program. Obviously, I've got like done with you and done for you. But I tell you what, not everybody is ready to get in for 6 or 12 month program. So they may need a little taster, and that's okay to create something that's like a little starter, right? So I've got like a clarity mapping session, which is a low cost sort of thing that people can get in. And by the way, if you would like that, just ping me a message and we can have a conversation about that. That's one way to just have a bit of time with me, and we go through your foundations and we map all of this stuff out without you having to commit for 3, 6, 12 months straight away, because sometimes you just don't know if this is right for you, if this person is right for you to work together. So you can give a bit of a taster. And based on that, you can then start with your messaging. I would not recommend you go out and be visible without having those foundations, because once you start becoming visible, you're doing your messaging, you might be spending a lot of time and energy, which is your obviously your content strategy. This is just, I'm just showing you example for each step as to what that looks like. So in my business, so if someone joins me in my program, I have a whole sort of roadmap. People go through this roadmap step by step. These are sort of fill in the blank worksheets. They come with a video as well. So it's really, really easy to create a whole folder, like a little, or a workbook you can print out, and you have your whole business in that folder, and you can always go back to that. And it's really beautiful because you can fill it online as well. Obviously, it's like fillable sheets, but some people like to just print it and have that in hand, and helps them really planning their foundations. So yeah, so that's the first step, I would say. The second step is obviously the content. So once we have the messaging, we now obviously we need the target audiences, like which places are they hanging out in, and which is my preferred platform, because you may not like all the different platforms where you can reach them. Are they on LinkedIn? Like, for example, corporate people or professionals who work at corporate places, they like to hang out on LinkedIn, most likely. I mean, we know everyone's probably on Facebook anyway, but it's really hard to kind of find them, harder, I would say. Obviously, we can go into Facebook groups and things like this. And of course, we can always run paid ads as well at some point. But we need to obviously nail all of the messaging before we run paid ads. That's another conversation altogether. The second thing I put down here is pull content and weak algorithms. That's just a little kind of reminder for me to talk about the content itself. Obviously, we want all kinds of different content that will come from different directions, angles, questions, engagement, inspiration. You probably have heard about all of this. But one of the things is like the pull content is like questions and polls. So people actually um, are being pulled into your world and they start a conversation. I think that's really, really cool, because then you can ask them questions back and start conversation, then invite them to masterclass or something like this. So those kinds of content pieces are really, really important to have, because there are weak algorithms, as you know, on let's talk Facebook. I have a group that has several thousand people in there, but only like have 30 people reach. So it's really, really, yeah, it's a bit frustrating, like not to get to the people, right? So that's why we want to have pull content where people start commenting and there's a conversation and it's sort of high value as well, and not just sort of salesy stuff. And the last point I want to mention here is the content needs to be strategically built around your offers. I see so many of my clients saying, "Well, I don't even know what to post today." I'm like, "Okay, well, what's your offer? Where are your pillars from your offer?" Now we can structure content because it's so strategic. It always goes back to the one thing. You always sort of talk about those kinds of the core elements, and you're not confusing people and you're not confused yourself anymore, and you can then reutilize that over and over again. Okay, so these are your evergreen content sort of items that you might want to kind of put in your back pocket and really think about. Here is an example. This is how I organize my content, and I also give the structure to my clients when they work with me. Because this is like a Trello board, right? So Trello is a free tool. I mean, at least the basic stuff that you need is free, and you can put in all your posts, you can sort in all your emails, and it's so easy to actually add people to the board. So, like for example, a VA could then help you schedule in those things and manage, and then you can repurpose this information over and over again. So it's a nice and neat way to actually really structure your content and to think it through. You could have like a list where you just have ideas, and then you have a list as like next week's content, or you could even have it like month by month. I have actually one board that says January content, February, and I just put in what I posted, and then next year I will go back to the January one and say, well, which of the things are still aligned, which of the things I can still use, and then I'll put it back up for it to be posted. So that's one way to obviously create and repurpose and manage your content. Pillar number 3 is your leveraged visibility. So people obviously talk about visibility, but they don't always talk about the leveraged way. And because we're talking about the 6 pillars of Evergreen, and by the way, this is my program is called the Evergreen Success Formula, which teaches all the 6 pillars, obviously. But I'm now talking about leverage visibility because when we post on certain social media platforms, it may not be leveraged. It's like a story, for example, it's gone within 24 hours. But we also want to see leveraged things such like YouTube videos. So for example, this webinar, I'm recording it. I can cut it into smaller pieces and then put it up. It's YouTube Shorts. I can also use the long version, upload it to YouTube, make sure I put the right keywords and all that kind of stuff. So it's searchable, right? It's SEO searchable. You can have maybe a website where you have blog posts and people can search for it. These are all sort of leveraged items, visibility items that you can create in your business. Again, we want to make sure that we know where the target audience is and where the places are that we can post this. We want to think about the different types of content and the different medias. Is it written? Is it video? Is it maybe audio? Or is it a hybrid of all of these? So where do you think is the best way for you in terms of reaching your audience? Then you want to think about the frequency. Now, to be honest with you, I maybe I'm lazy, call me lazy, but I just like to do one video a week like this to the public. Obviously, I do other videos in the background for my programs and my clients, but for the public, I just like to do one video and then utilize this in some pieces in written posts because I can, you know, I could use this visual now and write a post. I can obviously cut up little shorter videos and post that as well so that the frequency can be daily for me without me having to actually spend more time and energy and sitting down every single day. So it's really thinking smartly about how can you utilize your content in a way that actually maximizes, because quite often we do amazing things, we're not sharing it enough. And we want to be able to repurpose as well. So it's a repurposable asset. It's an asset that we're creating every single time. So here's the example. This is it's called Opus Clip. This is a tool I signed up for free. It kind of probably gives you an hour. I can't remember how, 1 hour or 2 hours for free for every week or something like this, where you can upload a video and then it cuts into smaller pieces. You can download it and pop it over to YouTube. So here's an example of how you can reutilize one of the things you've already done. So, are you still with me? Give me give me a two in the chat. I hope this is making sense. Obviously, there's a lot in this, and take this as a little bit of a checklist for yourself, because every pillar has two or three sort of items that sits within the pillar and saying, well, are you already doing this? How are you doing in this area? And oh yeah, this is a good idea. I should be thinking about this. So hopefully you can take it in this manner. Obviously, I won't be able to talk in all the detail, every single step. I'm giving you a really good overview as to the different items. Okay. So great, you're still with me. I'm so happy. Step number, the pillar number 4 is your conversion engine. Obviously, this is so we need foundations, right? Based on the foundations, we now become visible. We need some content. Then we become visible with the content, and now we're visible. We need to send people to some place where they can interact with us and we can share with them what we do, right? Share our brilliance. So that is the conversion engine. Obviously, what I probably forgot to say is probably a bit logical anyway. Like when you are visible, you're creating content, you want 80% of value, posts and things, and you don't every post want to sell stuff. This is just is too much, right? Really think for yourself when you go on social media. What are the posts you really like? What's the feel? What's the vibe? And if they're always in your face and posting and selling and this, that, and the other, how do you feel about it? Right? If you feel kind of bad about it, then obviously we don't want to do that ourselves. So it's really about 80%, I would say, lead with value, and then 20% of the time, like every third, fourth post, actually 20% would be fifth if I calculate it. Yeah. So every fifth post also just a bit of a, hey, by the way, I'm doing a free masterclass, or download this freebie, or book a call, or something like that, right? So, and that's when they come into the conversion engine, which is your leveraged platforms. Again, this word leveraged comes up because this is a leveraged platform. This here right now, this masterclass, I have a couple of people in here and I can do the same presentation at the same time. So we're leveraging our time and our energy. So think about it. It could be a webinar, it could be a challenge. So the difference between the webinar is a webinar show up for an hour and a half or something like this, and the challenge is over a couple of days, and you breaking down your presentation into smaller steps. And obviously the way you set it up is different. But it's the notion of creating an event. It's creating momentum and creating conversations, and you show up and you show what you can do and add lots of value. And yeah, and this is another point, like again, we're adding value. It's not like a big sales pitch, because there are lots of webinars and challenges that's all about selling stuff over and over and from the beginning, and there's not much value. So I guess we just need to shift, because nowadays people on social media and our target audience are savvy. They know a sales funnel. They know when there is a freebie. They know exactly when they get emails they're going to be sold to and everything else. So how can we show up differently and in a way that feels good for us as well and feels good for them? So that's why I'm saying it's like this value, giving value, because things will come back to you when you are authentic, when you are standing in your power, and if you give from the heart, then I think people will feel good to actually connect with you further. And because nobody likes sleazy sales tactics, right? To be honest. And another conversion engine is a sales page. Basically, it depends what your price point is. You can just write it down, do a video, and have a sales page, and then put people through that process. They can click a button, they can come and work with you that way. Anyway, let's go to, where are we? 5, pillar number 5. Oh, I just wanted to show you this. Yes, of course. This is the ecosystem. So for example, the webinars, I run it weekly. So I have a weekly cycle where so Wednesday I run this session. On Thursday, I send out the replay. On Friday, I share some client wins. Then Saturday, Sunday, I actually don't tend to do much. I just have some posts going in the background, which are already planned. Then on Monday, I then promote the webinar again. On Tuesday as well. Actually, on Monday, I do a poll. I'll start conversations. On Tuesday, I promote the webinar. Wednesday, I come in again and do the session. And And people who may have missed this Wednesday session come next Wednesday. And obviously next Wednesday is a different topic. So, but can you see there is this kind of ecosystem, and you know every day what you're doing, and you're so scrambling and sort of just piecemealing it together and sort of second guessing. So this is really what I like, and I install into other businesses as well, so that they have a clarity, they have this consistency, and they know exactly what they're doing, and it brings results. So that's really important. And I did say to you that obviously what we want is an engine that can actually create clients potentially within 48 hours. Because if I do a poll on Monday, I get them into the webinar on Wednesday, and today people can book a call with me. If after the session, I'll give you a link, you can book a call. Tomorrow they might talk to me, and by the end of the week I might have a client to be onboarded, right? Okay, that sounds like a stable approach. Yeah, I do like stable. This is my background, process and project management. That was my bread and butter in corporate, and I was always struggling with just showing up. And I know there's a lot of women who are very intuitive, but even they like that, because they need to have something to hold on to, and to be able to kind of run in their business, and it even makes their life much easier as well, and less overwhelmed. It looks like, oh my gosh, there's a lot to do in the beginning. Yes, that may well be, but once it's up and running, it's kind of really easy peasy, and it's kind of a breeze, and you have everything organized, and it's just there, right? So what happens is, if you install this, obviously you can create much quicker a good conversation. You can get to know, like, trust people, or they can get to know, like, and trust you much easier. And that means higher amount of people will sign up, because it's just the way you structure your week, you structure your conversion energy engine. You don't have to be salesy. You can have those authentic conversations. You can look forward to getting on a call, because they already heard you talk. You are also in a position to turn people away potentially if you think they're not quite a right fit. Fair enough, right? You might have so many people coming through all the time that it's like, actually, I can choose now. That's ideal. And then you have more time to actually work with your clients, because you have this marketing engine is just nailed, and even someone like a VA can help you run it. So you have more time, energy, space to do the stuff that you love doing and that you know you can do best, which I guess it's coaching, consulting, healing, therapy, right? All of these amazing things. And something that will help people just get on the phone on autopilot, or maybe if you send them to a sales page, then it's kind of like, oh, there's another sale, which is fantastic, right? So imagine this happened to Christine and Nikki, they're parenting and leadership coaches. They've worked with many mentors before. Again, they had to redo everything. Like, of course, they had a business, but it just wasn't working. So we started through with the foundations, then implemented all the evergreen aspects, and they were able to position themselves as premium, be able to ask for higher prices in the marketplace, and attract their ideal clients who can afford them as well. So very, very important. So here's the ecosystem. We've got the evergreen content in the beginning. So we have the pillar 2 and 3 basically working there. In the middle, we've got the evergreen marketing with a webinar, with a challenge, with some sort of conversion engine. And then on the right-hand side, you've got your evergreen program, which I will talk about next. So these pillars all have the different places in the ecosystem, and that's really how it looks from a bird's eye perspective. Because yeah, the next pillar is the evergreen scalable program. So we talked about, you may not have that program yet. You may have programs, but they are not kind of evergreen, because say you have a start and an end date, and that can be sometimes quite disadvantageous, because you've got to launch, make sure you fill it up, and if you then only have 1 or 2 people coming into the program, you run this group, or you have a retreat or something like this, then obviously it's quite hard, and it may not be the best evergreen solution. So evergreen, when I talk about evergreen, is people can always come in, they still never feel behind, They get the support. Sometimes it's hybrid. There's a bit of one-to-one support. That's, for example, what I provide inside the Evergreen Success Formula. I have obviously all the pillars with the steps and do this and all the tools, but also I have one-to-one inside of that. So we can really combine both. So really think about how can you best leverage your time when creating your program? How many people can I bring in? What does that mean financially for me? What does that mean in terms of the time I'm spending delivering? And how can I get the best results? That's when we talk about results as like the pillar six. I really think about leverage resources, for example. I was talking to one of my clients, she's a nutritionist. She goes, "Oh my gosh, everyone's asking me about exactly these three things." I said, "Well, then this is a leveraged resource because you may want to do a video around how carbs affect your weight loss and how, I don't know, nightshades, about nightshades, so you have things that everybody will ask you about. You want to leverage and create those as a video or as a worksheet so people can reutilize it over and over again without you having to repeat yourself. And then you want to think about the price points and the different levels. So I have three different levels in my program right now. So what are the different price points? When can they upgrade, and how much would they be if they now think, oh, now I'm ready to go to the next level? What's that journey? You really want to think about that so it works for you, for your finances, and for your lifestyle. Lastly, here's an example. Noreen, very interesting lady. She works with horses. And for the longest time, she didn't even know how to actually communicate what she does, the power of horses. So we've created a visual, as you can see here in the center, the black box, 9 steps to unleash your inner power in 12 weeks. So it's her signature program. And then we mapped out the step-by-step system and the things that she would be teaching and take people through, which was always in her head somewhere anyway. She just needed to put it down so people could start to understand it. And hey presto, what happened was that she was showing up more, she was having more conversations, she gained more clients, and she got the businesswoman of the year award in Ireland. So it just helps you gain that confidence, being able to start conversations and then really visually show someone what they would get, if especially when it's something that's kind of, you can't really touch it, right? It's what I was saying with coaching, consulting, therapy, transformations. You can visually map this out actually. So again, a really, really good tool. And then the last pillar is your delivery and your results. So really, how do you then structure once people come in? How do you onboard people? How do you make sure they get a great kickstart and they an orientation as to what to expect? And do you have a coaching contract in terms of what you provide and what you expect of them so that you have a great relationship? So these are all the things you might want to think about. Again, in your mind, do a little checklist. Have I got this in place? Do you want to create a community of peers to support them? What sort of platforms could you be using? There are other platforms other than Facebook or a membership right now. I'm exploring School at the moment. School is a great platform where you can build that community and you can host um, your training on there as well. How do you instill accountability? What sort of toolkits or maybe even done for you pieces can you drizzle in so that you can help with the heavy lifting? Like, for example, inside of the Evergreen Success Formula, I have lots of toolkits. Like I've got my onboarding manual, so people know exactly what to expect. There's a timeline, and then I've got a whole vault of tools for coaching, workbooks, visuals on Canva, sales scripts, AI prompts to use. So a lot of things that do a lot of the heavy lifting that we can utilize lots of the technology now that we have around us, even sales funnels, like whole templates, right? So what are the things that you can chuck in that will really help and help you also stand out from the crowd? Because there may be things that people have experienced in the past. They've purchased a program or something like this, and then it's just like something was missing for them, or you were in a program and you think actually it would have been so great to have that in there. So make sure you build that in, you bring that in, and that's really why, or how you can actually bring the people in who are on the fence and like, oh, hang on, there's a lot of this done for you stuff, and I don't have to kind of wiggle through myself. There's this meal plan, or there's this meditation plan, or this toolkit that I can use. And I get one-to-one sessions so that when I have a wobble, all these components, you can actually create yourself. You can make it your own. You can create that signature program. Whew, so there's a lot to digest. I know. Give me a 2 if you're still with me. I know we're at the top of the hour. We're going to finish in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Promise. Here's an example of the templates that I have in my program. Literally, it's a simple spreadsheet with links. People can download the tools that they just use for their business, and they can utilize it with their own clients as well. Because I know most of people have some sort of coaching business, and they always need some tools as well. And then obviously all the workbooks that I have and things like that I showed you before. School here is an example. It's just a screenshot of the community itself, how it looks. It's got a classroom, it's got a calendar. It's really, really neat to actually create that. And anyone who comes into my program obviously gets all the support to build any of these things out naturally. Whatever I'm showing now, I will build it together with you. So that's really what I'm here to do. My program's never really about watching videos. It's really about implementation. I love implementation, and I'm really keen that people walk away with assets and things like the whole ecosystem working for them, and they can actually then work it themselves or get some support in to work it. So that's really what I do. Here's another example. Language teacher, Jenny, love her to bits. She was obviously teaching English, right? So who would have thought, like, teaching English, but teaching English for the corporates and obviously executives who wanted to move from China over into the US or something like this. So again, she upped her price. She started a group program even, and she charged £3,000. Obviously, corporate, they have they have money, and those kinds of people. I said, you don't just charge 100 for a session. You don't do that, right? So again, with 20 extra prices, she attracts execs, corporate clients, and has an automated client acquisition system in place so that she can truly focus on what she loves doing. So now your reflection questions, the audit that I was mentioning. Now, as you have the 6 pillars, you've got this in your mind, how much of this do you already have in place right now? Okay. Maybe you want to give yourself a percentage. And if you want to share it in the chat, feel free. Maybe 80%. Fantastic. You've got them already in place. Maybe I'll create a whole audit around this, like a more detailed one, and you can then do the scoring. That could be another idea. Yeah, how much have you got nailed? Does it run like an oiled machine? I guess that's the next question, because we may have a lot of these things in place, but the question is, is it really working? Are they nailed, or do they need maybe a bit of, shining and a bit of oiling and make it look nicer, maybe improve it, optimize it, right? We may need to think about that. And the question really is, would you like all of these components nailed once and for all for long term, and maybe get that system working and installed in the 90 days? Because that's really what I do inside of the Evergreen Success Formula. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about the Evergreen Success Formula, I won't go too much in detail. You kind of see what the pillars are. I would just say, look, book a call with me. Very, very simple. We can have a conversation, because I guess if you get some support and we will do this together, it is about speed, getting you the results. Sometimes, everyone has to stop and breathe and say, actually, can I afford keeping doing what I'm doing currently? Am I really getting the results? Am I really sort of getting the momentum and the speed? Is it maybe time to get someone to support me? The possibility is absolutely there to do the 10K month, and we can structure your programs accordingly, really look through your financials, your goals, your lifestyle goals, and really create this business together. And, if in 10 months, and say, like some of my previous clients, the people I had on the call, they said, can I come back later, or I'll try this on my own? 10 months later, maybe you could have done 10K a month. That could have then cost you $100,000 or pounds, right? So that's the question. If you're not taking action, what does it mean to your business? Will you be able to do it on your own, or would that mean that potentially you lose even more time, money, and energy? And of course, impact, because you owe it not to yourself, but also to your clients. Here's another example. Shayna's Mind, Body, Soul coach. She's created her first group program, so she was charging just one-to-one. Again, it was a brand new program, fairly new coach, and she created £3,000 program. She sold it out in 30 days. So she had 5 spots there and she sold it out. So it does work. Of course, I want you to be next. Definitely have 2 options: do it yourself, or we can do it together. Obviously, option 1 is probably hard, expensive, slow, potentially lonely as well. Option 2, we can get it together. It may be a bit easier for you because I've got all the templates, the plug and play kind of. We can work together. I'm with you one-to-ones as well. We have group Zooms. We've got obviously a place where you have all the different components that you will need, all the training, and so on, right? And it could be less expensive and faster, obviously. So do book in a call. It's a free blueprint call. I'm going to share with you the link in a moment. Just note, when you do book a call, I do require everyone to fill in a short form, because I want to make sure that you are the right fit, and I don't want to waste anyone's time, actually. So just make sure. What I'll do is I'll go through obviously your business. I'll ask you some questions. We see what's working, what's not working, and I'm going to give you a quick action plan as well. And if it is a good fit, we can have a conversation about working together. Here's another example. Heather, she is a cancer physical illness therapist. It was quite a tough topic, actually. She started her webinar as well, so her webinar system. Again, she had made 20K that month. Again, 5 clients, and it was high ticket offer. So lots and lots of different success stories. Success formula, as I said, more success stories here. It is obviously for you, if you are a coach, consultant, expert, you have high ticket value offer, or you might think about the scalable program that I was kind of talking about. If it is like $100 a month and you want to get 5, 10, 20 clients in, you can create that as well. Info products, courses. You've got value to share. You are absolutely passionate about helping your industry, and you do understand it takes time and investment to get to the next level. So you can book a call. I'm just going to grab this link now, and I'm going to stop sharing, taking questions. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk through exactly what's included. I think best is we just have a conversation on the phone, unless you have a question right now. There are different levels in terms of pricing as well. Let me just grab this link. And if you have no more questions, you're very free to go. I hope this conversation inspired you, that you took a lot of information away. Jana, the book a call anyway. I know this, maybe some people may not be ready, but sometimes we can have a conversation and see how we can get you ready quicker as well. So yeah, feel free just to have a conversation. I'm not the person who will hard sell you anything. I'm a coach. I'm the listening coach. I'm going to ask some reflective questions, and and I want to instill confidence. I think that's the main thing. It's about bringing confidence to the table and creating a really amazing community of change makers around the world. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming today. I would love it if you can send me a bit of a feedback. I'll send out a bit of a questionnaire, because I always want to improve these sessions as well, and make sure that I bring to the table what people are really interested in, and that will be valuable to your business. Okay, have a wonderful rest of the day, and we will see you soon. And if you want to book in a call, please do so. I think the link is in the chat. So I look forward to connecting with you further. Take care. Bye-bye.